Hi everyone, aloha and welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a few minutes. So go ahead and kick back, relax, and we'll get started shortly. Aloha and welcome. I see some familiar faces. We'll go ahead and get started here shortly. So go ahead and kick back, relax, and we'll start soon.
Last night, about 10 to 11 when I first laid out.
Aloha everyone. For those who are just joining us, we're going to go ahead and get started here shortly. I'm with you, Chloe. I completely agree. I was like, Kolohe Kai is the way to go.
Set my heart on fire.
All right, so for those who are just joining us, we want to say, of course, welcome e komo mai. We appreciate you guys joining us on this afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on what time zone you are joining us from. Today, I'm so excited that we have two of our different teams here on campus joining us here today to talk a little bit more about your different options for course registration and, of course, our ACE programs. Just a few reminders for today that we are going to be in webinar style. So what that means is you all can see us, however, we cannot see you. So definitely just keep that in mind. We do have the Q&A open. So if you guys have questions, definitely be sure to go ahead and put those questions in that Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you are wondering, yes, we will be recording this here today. So we'll definitely make sure to send out an email after the event with the link to the recording. But of course, you guys can always visit our YouTube channel. All of the videos are uploaded to there each and every week. So just a reminder, just keep putting those questions in the Q&A and we'll make sure to go ahead and get to them at the end. But I'm super excited. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Kyle and Hannah, who are here to talk to you more about the first year programs and ACE clusters.
Thanks so much, Amber. Aloha, everyone. My name is Kyle Van Duzer. I serve as the Director of First Year Programs. And today I wanted to talk to you a little about the ACE clusters, as well as give you some important updates about upcoming dates and reminders. So a little bit about the ACE clusters. What they are is groups of, let me first start. We know it's a really big transition going from high school to college. And even now that all your classes have been online, some of you may have already been going back to school. And so to help you with this, what we offer are called learning communities. And what these are is groups of 10 or 15 students who are taking the same Common Core classes. Let's say you're interested in majoring in business or biology or let's say history or computer engineering. Whatever that may be, we offer what are called learning communities. And that way you can go from class to class to class all semester long with the same group of peers. And the goal of this is really just to help you build friendships. We know everyone here shares a similar common experience and not everyone's coming to campus is new. So the idea is that we can help you build academic and social relationships. Let's say you miss a test or something to that nature. You miss a class and you need study notes. You can have someone you can refer back to. Tied to the learning community, what really makes it unique is our 1 credit class, which is now a writing intensive class. So you get those gen ed course credits. And it's called UNIV 110, University Experience. And what's unique about this is it's led by an undergraduate peer mentor. We have Hannah with us today. She's going to kind of chime in just a moment here. And the peer mentor has already been very successful in the major, and they're the ones who are leading the class, and they're just there to serve as a guide or coach for you. So that's a kind of a short synopsis of the learning communities and UNIV 110. We offer over 50 different learning communities, like I said, ranging anything from biology, business, almost any major you can think of, we offer. And then also some things to kind of really keep in mind is if you're planning to major in biology, chemistry, engineering, any major that would require a chemistry, either 161, 131, or 171 as part of your core coursework, you'll need to take the chemistry placement exam prior to signing up for ACE. So ACE registration is actually coming up right around the corner here in just a little over 2 weeks. So May 3rd, everyone mark your calendars, May 3rd, that's when you can sign up. At 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time is when we'll open it. And then we'll close it on May 14th at 4 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So that's just, you know, if you forget everything I just said, that's okay. Just remember that you can sign up for your classes effective May 3rd at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. If you're taking the chemistry, if you're taking a chemistry course, as I talked about earlier, you will need to take the chemistry placement exam prior to signing up for ACE. So in order to complete your registration, this is only for students who will be having chemistry in their core classes. That's not everyone, so only about 1/3 of students who signed up. But for those of you who are maybe interested in business, or, you know, I can think of another couple of fields, let's say, you won't need you will not need chemistry, but for those of you who are majoring in biology or chemistry or engineering, you will need the chemistry. So please do take the exam, and please, I would say in the next 2 weeks, you can take that right away. Those are kind of the key updates I have for you about the first year programs. I think it would be great, rather than me saying how great the program is, we know students tend to perform better when they're in the learning communities and they get higher academic GPAs, but rather than me have, you know, go on and on about it, I'd really like to kind of talk, pass it on to Hannah, who's already been a student going through the first year programs just a couple years ago, and now she's a mentor. So Hannah, do you want to introduce yourself for a moment and maybe discuss your experience?
Sure, thank you, Kyle. So hi, everyone. My name is Hannah. I was an ACE peer mentee, so in my freshman year, and now I'm an ACE peer mentor. There's a lot of things I would like to say about ACE just because there's so many great things, but I want to emphasize on 3 things. So social. Our social life when you're in the learning community of ACE, it's so beneficial because you're with like 10 to 15 other students who are taking the same courses as you, and you guys are basically having the same interests. And I think it was just so beneficial to have people who were like-minded like me, maybe coming from different backgrounds where we could share that same interest. And it was just so beneficial in that way. The second one is academics. Being in that learning community with your peers who are in the same courses as you, it really helps you to, you know, form those study groups and to reach out to your mentor, because your mentor has probably taken some of those courses. And it's been so beneficial to have people around you who are at your level taking the class at that moment, as well as just people that you can use as a resource to go to and get help from. And then the last one is personal development. I really do feel like this learning community, the curriculum that we actually give is so beneficial. I didn't know how to finance at all, personal financing, budgeting. I don't know any of that. I didn't know any campus resources because I was an out-of-state student. So I was really nervous coming to UH Manoa. I was like, what should I do? And I signed up, and I honestly cannot, I would never go back and say like, oh, I made a mistake. This was the best, because I feel like it has pushed me to a level, or put me at a level where other students who are freshmen who didn't take this learning community ACE, they didn't know that our campus has those types of resources. There's a lot of branching that we have at our from ACE that we can link our students to that really help them just understand what our campus can give back to them. So those are the 3 things. And yeah, I'm just gonna pass it back to Amber.
Hey, thank you guys so much for explaining more about that. That's fantastic and so great to learn about. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off next to Diana to talk to you guys more about that registration checklist and some things to keep in mind when doing so.
Thanks, Amber. I was just answering another question in the Q&A, so let me get my slides pulled up. All right, can everybody see my slides okay? I hope so. All right, so hi everyone. We're going to do a really quick run through of a few things that you should keep in mind in order to prepare to register for your first semester of classes here at UH Manoa. My name is Diana Thompson and I am an academic advisor with the Manoa Advising Center, also known as MAC. The Manoa Advising Center specifically works with students who are exploratory. So I did answer a question earlier in the chat about exploratory. It is okay to be a student at our institution and not know exactly what major you want to go into. That is what the exploratory program is for. And so this team that you see here on my slides, we are the advisors who work at the Manoa Advising Center and are here to help with selecting classes, picking majors, and figuring out what your path is going to be. But today I'm not here specifically to talk about being exploratory. I'm just here to talk about registration in general, as well as a few other really fantastic resources that our campus offers that will help you to prepare for that first day. So in case you aren't familiar with what an academic advisor is, we're basically like the equivalent of a high school counselor, but we mostly focus on the academic piece. So we'll help you with things like learning your degree requirements, major requirements, gen eds. We'll help you with paperwork and forms, and we also help with understanding campus policy if there ever comes a time that you need to figure out how to navigate a process. So in general, whenever you have a question, it's a really great idea to get in touch with your academic advisor. And I did see a few questions in the chat about, well, how do I contact my academic advisor? And I'm going to get to that at the end of this presentation. So just stick around for a little bit and we'll get there soon. But first, I'd say the very, very first thing that you should do is take a look at the new Rainbow Warrior checklist. And the website for that is manoa.hawaii.edu/admissions/accepted. It is a very quick 11-step checklist that goes in order from the first thing that you do all the way to the 11th thing. And maybe not everything applies to you, but it's a really great catch-all to make sure that you're definitely prepared. And so just so that you get a sense of what that looks like, here's the website. It is very well designed and useful and gives you tons of really great information, including about our Safe Travels Hawaii program, which I know some people have questions that are related to COVID-19. So you can get that information here. Okay, so coming back to this, the next thing that you should do is decide on your major, or at least have an idea. Maybe it's a list of majors. And I know that it can be a little bit stressful for some people. And some people have a really good idea. They already know exactly what it is that they want to do. But other people, they're like, well, I'm not really sure. I'm kind of between this and that. And that's okay. But we want you to make sure that you have that list, at least, that you've put some thought into it. And there are a couple resources for this. One of them that will be coming up specifically for students who have been accepted to our institution. They've already received their official acceptance notice. They are invited to attend this Saturday an accepted student reception, and I will be there virtually at this accepted student reception, which will be running from 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time until noon Hawaii Standard Time. And we'll be running Choosing Your Major live sessions at 10:30 a.m. and 11:15 a.m. Respectively. And usually it's like the beginning of that time is going to be the detailed, like, this is how you go about choosing a major. And after that, we just do some live Q&A. So if you want to spend more time with me or my colleague, then please come and see us on Saturday. That's going to be one way that you can explore majors. Another way I will talk about, again, a little bit later on in this presentation. Okay, I hope you're all still with me. The next thing, after you've done the new Rainbow Warrior checklist, after you've put together a list of potential majors that you want to go into, now we have this really great resource called the New Student Advising Online Workshop. And this is a free resource. It is an asynchronous resource, and it's going to be launching on May 3rd of this year. So keep your eyes peeled for that and mark your calendars because that's coming up pretty soon. And the reason why it's coming up soon is because, as you may know, registration is going to be happening in May. So you need to be prepared before your registration actually happens in May. And some things that this online workshop covers includes placement exams, and tutorial for how to register for ACE so that you can participate in an ACE cluster. It includes STAR GPS registration tutorials, and there's a bunch of other things. There's about 9 modules of very key steps that you need to take, and it walks you through step by step with a video showing you each thing. And to see all of that stuff, you'll go to the website, which I'll link on the next slide. But essentially, it's going to walk you through everything that you would need to do. And I know the screenshot says mid-April, but we have had to push back our launch date to May 3rd for this year. So the new student advising online workshop, again, some topics that are covered in this workshop will include gen ed requirements, how to read your transfer transcripts, which includes things like AP scores, running start, and things like that. Tips for the placement exams, tutorials for how to register, also video tutorials for how to connect with and find your academic advisors, and more topics than that even. So make sure that you participate in that. The website is manoa.hawaii.edu/undergrad/new student advising. And there will be a link there to the online workshop section that you can participate in. You should also receive marketing and things that include links to this, but I do recommend just having this website written down just so that you make sure that you don't miss out. Okay, so now that we have talked about the online workshop, and I'll take questions on this later after I've finished my spiel, which is almost done. The last thing is meeting with your academic advisor. Now, the very last module in the new student advising online workshop will walk you through how to use this website, which is called the Advising Guide. And the Advising Guide website is a really great resource to help you with exploring different major options, as well as finding contact information for your academic advisors based on which major you're in. So what you would do is, personally, I like going straight to the undergraduate majors A to Z list, whether you're exploring or if you're looking for your academic advisor. And that list looks something like this. You'll be able to either click a letter at the top that corresponds to your major, or just scroll through the list until you find your major listed. And then you'll click on your major link there. Let's say you clicked on a major in the College of Business, then you would see something like this on the next page, where it tells you who your advisor is, what office they work in, where they're physically located once we're back on campus, their phone number, email address, and website. And below that, your academic advisor has written some key details that they would like you to know for how you can best get in touch with them, and other really important things that you would need to know. So this is just an example. There's a lot of different advising offices that we have on our campus. I want to say there are over 20 of them. So to make sure that you get in touch with the correct people, I highly recommend using the Advising Guide to do that. So to get to the Advising Guide, the website is very similar to our new student advising website. It is manoa.hawaii.edu/undergrad/advising. And again, we'll use this resource for exploring your major options, as well as to connect with your academic advisors. And again, this is linked in the online workshop that I talked about earlier. So hopefully you definitely don't miss out on the opportunity to explore this resource. Okay, so those are my big 4 things. I wanted to just say thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about that, as well as learning more about ACE as well earlier. Here's the contact information for Manoa Advising Center advisors. We serve as a general great point of contact if you're just really lost and you need to get connected with the correct people. More than welcome to send us an email at macadv@hawaii.edu. And we will do our best to either directly assist you or to refer you to the correct place so that you can get all of the information that you need. Okay, with that, I will turn it back over to our lovely hosts so that we can get through some questions.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for talking more about course registration and ACE programs. I know we've already gotten a lot of really great questions, so I'm going to kind of jump around here and there, but go over different topics. So students, I know, just as a reminder, I know you guys have a lot of questions about COVID and, you know, all these other housing and such, but for right now, we're going to go ahead and keep focus on the academic advising and the ACE clusters for now, but I'll do my best to go ahead and answer the other related questions in the chat. But our first question is going to be very simple, is how do we meet with an academic advisor? What are the next steps that they can do to go ahead and schedule that? And I might pass you off to that one.
I'll go ahead and take this one. So every academic advising office has different ways that they're meeting with students right now. To my knowledge, I don't think any of us are really meeting with anybody in person at the moment. But for the most part, we're meeting with people through Zoom, or some of them are taking phone calls. So because every office is doing it a little bit differently, that advising guide website should be a really great resource. We have been working to keep it up to date to see how your advisor wants to get connected with you. I highly recommend starting with an email, just because while phone numbers are listed, a lot of us are not in the office right now. So a phone call will probably go to voicemail and will not be responded to in a timely manner. So definitely recommend trying to send an email and getting in touch with your academic advisors from there.
And what kind of going off of, when should students begin meeting with their academic advisors? Is there a specific date that they should meet with them by, or just kind of open, or what would you recommend?
Personally, I recommend going through that new student advising online workshop first, just because there are a lot of very basic questions that everybody tends to have that are explained and walked through in those videos. After completing that and you've got that basic foundational level knowledge, when you come in and meet with an advisor after that point, we can spend a lot more time talking about, okay, what are your goals, dreams? What is your vision? What is it that you want to accomplish while you're here? And it's a lot more specific to you, rather than the 30 minutes getting taken up with like, well, this is how to do a placement exam, or this is the website to go to, this is that general education requirement. So trying to get that baseline early so that we can spend more time being focused on you and your specific questions and needs. That's what I think everybody wants, right? So that you can get that individualized attention that you deserve.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you kind of explaining more about that. That's great. I know we've got a lot of questions about that. Now kind of jumping over to Kyle and Hannah. I know we've gotten a lot of really great questions about ACE as well. So many students are wondering, is ACE only for a semester, or is it a full year program?
That's a great question. So it's the classes is just for one semester. We do often see that after the students have already formed the friendship, that they do plan courses around each other's schedule intentionally. And I think Hannah can talk a little bit about that, but our programming is just for one semester. But Hannah, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. It is only for one semester. I wish it was longer, but I feel like you have that semester, that transition semester enough where you know what to do next. You don't need a mentor. I mean, you can always reach out to them. All of the peer mentors, they are ready and able. They're open to always answer your questions, maybe guidance, you want to talk to them. But other than that, I feel like you know what to do. You have a lot of other knowledge. You're equipped with what you need to do, going to like office hours. How do you write an email? All of these like little things like, where should I go for this problem? I feel like you are ready and you can share that knowledge also. Isn't that great? You can share that knowledge with other people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just adding to that, again, a lot of the students, once they're part of the cluster, they work together to schedule their own classes and they kind of stay together. That just kind of indirectly happens with the program. So thanks so much, Hannah and Amber.
Okay, and some other questions I've received about ACE, which are really great, is, of course, with COVID, things have been a bit complicated. So it's going to be a few-part question. The first part is, will ACE be available to remote students? I know some students are going to try to take classes fully online. Some are going to try to take it in person. So what are the different options for both remote students and in-person students?
That's a great question. And so I'm going to do my absolute best to make it available in both formats. So we're largely pushing for it to be in person. However, I understand some students may not feel comfortable, or there may be students in California, Washington, Oregon, Texas, New York, wherever they may be. And so we will be offering some online sections. When you sign up for the registration portal, one of the questions we're going to ask you is, what is your preferred delivery of UNIV 110? If you prefer in person, please state that. If you prefer online, please state that. And we're going to do our absolute best to try and accommodate you. We may not get the exact day and time that you want, but we can do our best to accommodate, whether it be online or in person. We're not going to be doing here or there format. So just because it will disrupt the dynamic of the class. So either the class will be fully online or the class will be fully in person. I hope that helps answer the question.
Yeah, that's perfect. So some other questions, then I'm going to pass it back off to Diana, but continuing a little bit more about ACE for now is so I know you guys mentioned that ACE is only for the one semester, but just clarifying it, is it for just the fall semester, or is there any kind of programs available during summer?
We're just for the fall semester right now. And yeah, so we're just for the fall semester. We do have I want to add to that. We most likely will be having a common read program. We had our inaugural year this past fall, and we're looking to continue the pilot. So you will be seeing some type of email in the near future. We're kind of in the process of narrowing down books. So you will be getting an email about a potential read. So we would encourage you to read the book before you come to campus. And then when that book gets selected, and that way you can have a point of contact and something to kind of talk about with your peers once you come to campus.
Okay, perfect. And then another attendee is wondering, is ACE basically just a way to meet people that are in the same classes, or what are the big advantages? I know, Hannah, you kind of mentioned that earlier as well.
Yeah, sure. I can take it away, and then maybe Hannah can add to it. So one of the big advantages is that with coming to higher education, the skills required for success, it changes. It's not necessarily, it's a different level of academic rigor, a different level of expectations on you. So our goal is to help you develop those transitional skills to be successful. So I would say ACE is really 2 or 3 part. The first part is really to develop those core essential skills for being successful in college, for getting good grades, making sure you're doing well on your exams, making sure you're managing your time, your finances, and an independent, autonomous learner. And so we're really in helping enhance that skill set for students. So that's the first part. The second part is largely the social dynamic. Again, we know that it is a big transition with a whole new set of students. So again, the second part really is about helping build that network of academic and social support. Hannah, did you want to add anything to that?
Sure. So mirroring what Kyle said, academically, I feel like when you're coming from high school and going into college, you're going to realize that maybe your study skills might not be up to par to the college level. I had to rearrange, kind of see like, okay, this is how I study, but in college, you're responsible for your own learning, right? Nobody's taking attendance anymore. Like, if you have to go to this class, no one's down beating your door. It's up to you to make that decision. And I really feel like ACE really goes through that. We go over how to study, what are the different techniques and tips, and it's very helpful. Also, you have peers around you, you have that support system. So it's just all encompassing, like the perfect sphere of leading to your success. And socially as well, it's so beneficial, because I feel like it's so hard when you're in a lecture of 200, 300 students, you're not going to be able to just reach over and say hi all the time, because it's like a very quick pace class where there's just too many people and you might not meet everyone. But when you narrow it down to a cluster, you have the ability to reach out to people in this safe environment where, it's not about, oh, we're talking about this lecture. It's more of just relaxing, talking about things that, we could, I guess, build up on, and like personal development, all these other things. So I really feel like it's a very safe environment that allows you just to be comfortable.
Oh, that's so great. Thanks, guys, for talking more about that. And just a couple last questions, kind of more rapid fire, if you know what I mean. We have students asking if there are any programs for marine biology in ACE.
Yeah, we offer a marine biology cluster actually specifically. So we offer what's called life sciences. We have one that's for pre-health, which would be biology and chemistry in the labs. And we also offer life sciences, and both of them have the same kind of core classes, which is Bio 171, the chemistry 161 or 131, and then the corresponding labs.
Perfect. And then I have another student asking if there's a political science ACE cluster.
I believe we do offer a political science ACE cluster, yes. And there are clusters for education majors as well, primary and secondary.
Wonderful. Let's see, moderator, if you can go ahead and assist us in putting the link for the ACE clusters into the chat. I know we have some people who are looking, asking where they can receive more information on it. And then if you guys can both go over kind of how the registration works and how it varies from if students were to choose an ACE cluster versus say if they do the regular registration. So kind of the timelines and such as well with that.
Of course, yeah, that's a great question. So May 3rd is what we're going to do is we're going to open a registration portal. It's going to be a Google form, and it's going to be just very kind of straightforward. You're going to sign in using your @UH email, and it's just going to say, okay, what cluster are you interested in? And it's going to have the list, you know, whether that be education, life sciences, engineering. It'll have just, I think, a cool little picture tied to each cluster so you can kind of get the idea of it. And all you do is click submit. And once you hit submit, then that processes on our records, and we will, on the back end, manually register you. On our website, we have a breakdown of all the class days and times. So you can see what cluster has a corresponding schedule, but inside the portal, it's just what cluster do you want, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, cluster 1. And so we don't have, just because it would make it all a little bit too cluttery. So we make it very smooth and streamlined. What will happen after you sign up for the cluster, then it's really quick. It should take you less than 5 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes at most, to just hit submit. Then on our end, you'll be put in our kind of holding kind of like a checkout, like think Amazon checkout. And so then we will essentially manually register you for your courses. So usually about 3 or 4 days after you sign up for ACE, then the courses will appear in your star. At the end of the registration period, I think it's May 23rd, I believe, is when standard registration opens. Then the classes will be in your STAR GPS portal as, oh, you already registered for them. Some of the clusters are already at 15 credit hours. Other clusters may require additional classes. At that time, on May 23rd, you can go into your STAR GPS, and the GPS will automatically tell you what are the additional classes you need to graduate. So if you sign up for us on May 3rd, again, we'll manually put you into your classes. If you go May 23rd, which is, I believe, the standard registration period, then you will just see your STAR GPS and it will kind of be automated for you. Almost think of like your phone, you know, as your phone guides you to the direction you're trying to go to your graduation. So either way, whether you go with us or wait until STAR, you'll still have that GPS effect we'll take in STAR.
Perfect. And then Diana, for just the regular registration, would you be able to explain about the time period of that and kind of, I know you mentioned it already, but kind of how that process works exactly?
Yes. So on STAR, which is the student portal that we use for students to register for their classes, you'll see this thing called a time ticket displayed on your registration portal. That tells you the specific day and time that you are assigned to register for classes, and it is different for every student, so please make sure that you're checking your own time ticket. And once that is open, then you'll be able to add a bunch of classes to your schedule, view your schedule, and any ACE classes that you might have registered for should already be showing up in there by the time you're able to register through GPS registration. So you'll be able to make sure that your schedule actually fits. You'll see like the calendar of what your week is going to look like, what times your classes are going to be at. And yeah, there is a really great tutorial video in the new student advising online workshop. So I know it's kind of hard to imagine with me just talking, but I promise the tutorial video really covers exactly what to expect and how to add classes and things.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for answering all those questions. I know we have so many great questions. We have already had over 100 different questions asked. So we're going to try and get to them as many as we can in the next 25 minutes or so. So kind of a couple more detailed questions about ACE is the question is say if a student has taken a specific AP class and passed it and they have credit for say English 100 or Psych 100 and that particular class is offered within that cluster, are they still able to do the cluster or should they be looking at a different cluster if they've already taken one of the classes?
So that's a great question. Yeah, so I would encourage you to speak with your academic advisor. So we know that now students are coming in with a lot more credits. So one of the things that we offer is what's called the University Experience Cluster. And what those are is clusters composed of English 100 and UNIV 110. Now, if you've already taken the AP, then we would encourage you to just take UNIV 110 as a standalone. It does have a writing intensive designation to it, so it will fulfill your gen ed requirements. So if, let's say you're coming in, and we see this sometimes 12, 24 credits already done, and that's for AP and early college program. A, congratulations, that's really awesome. And B, you can still get that cohort experience, and I would strongly encourage you to sign up for just UNIV 110 as a standalone, and that way you can still have the mentor and get that credit towards your gen ed and also build those academic and social relationships. There's a question here I just want to add to it that I saw about being in a community college and signing up for ACE. And the same thing, if you having additional credits, we don't, if you've already taken Bio 171 or taken the chemistry course, it wouldn't make sense to duplicate that because it would slow your time to graduation, but you can still have that meaningful cohort experience by taking UNIV 110 as a standalone class. So just kind of adding on to that.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for explaining more about that. Definitely good to know that there's different options for students. A couple last questions about ACE for now, and then Diana, I know got a lot of placement exam questions coming your way. Are students guaranteed to get into the ACE cluster, and how many students are in each cluster?
Those are great questions. So we operate on a first come, first served basis. So unless, a huge storm, something major happens, we can say with 99% confidence that you will get the classes that you signed up for ACE. Sometimes there are little glitches. Maybe an instructor has changed one of their classes in the window of ACE registration. This usually doesn't happen, but from time to time, an instructor may change the date and time of a class, not necessarily aware that we're using it. In that case, that might create a conflict. But like I said, 99% of the time you sign up for us, you're going to get those exact classes. And so we are on a first come, first served basis. So we strongly encourage you to sign up on May 3rd. And we will do our best to accommodate as many students as possible. And the cluster size is about 15 to 20 is our average cluster size.
Perfect. Thanks so much. All right, Diana, I'm going to put you on the spot now for all of those wonderful placement exam questions coming in. Would you mind just explaining a little bit more about the placement exams, how students will know if they needed to take one, and then where they can register for one?
So we have a lot of different placement exams at our institution. I know we've talked a lot about chemistry, so I've seen tons of questions about the chemistry placement exam in the Q&A, and I'm trying to get to them as quickly as I can. But we have a bunch of others as well. So right off the bat, if English is not your first language, there's the possibility that you might need to take some sort of English placement, and you would know whether or not you would need to do that because you'd have a hold on your account that says so. And that is all handled through our English Language Institute department. So I don't want to talk too much about that because I'm not an expert, but that is one potential placement exam. Another placement exam is, let's say that you have experience speaking a non-English language and you know that you have a non-English language requirement as a part of your degree and you don't want to start at the 101 level. So there might be a placement exam that corresponds to that. Our records office website does have some really great information, and I'm going to pop that link into the chat. Let's see, 2 panelists and attendees. There we go. So that webpage is on our Office of the Registrar website and includes links to all of the different placement exams that we offer. And if there's a language that you want to test for, but you don't see it on that list, please email your academic advisor because there's a more specific process that we need to go through. But that webpage is like a really great one-stop for all of the placement exams, English, non-English, chemistry, math, all of those. So I've also in the past gotten questions about, is there a biology placement exam or a physics placement exam? So the physics is dependent on math. So math classes and physics classes, as well as a few other classes that we offer at our institution, they just rely on our math placement exam, and you can find that information again on that website that I linked in the chat. And as for biology, relies on chemistry. So you would take the chemistry placement exam, and that would be for both chemistry course placement and biology course placement. I was trying to answer questions in the Q&A, so I'm not sure if this was already covered by Kyle, but regardless of if you want to take any chemistry class at our institution, with the exception of Chemistry 100, which is chemistry for non-science majors, then yes, you do need to take the chemistry placement exam. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to get into Chemistry 131, which is a prerequisite for 161, you still need a placement exam to get into 131. So you're probably going to take the placement exam. With chemistry specifically, you have 2 attempts to take the test, and the tests must be taken at least, I can't remember if it's 24 or 48 hours apart, but I've linked the webpage a few times in the Q&A, and also you can get to the webpage from that Office of the Registrar webpage that I linked in the chat. And all of the specifics, the rules, the details are all there, including things like whether or not you can use a calculator. I know the chemistry placement exam, you need a periodic table. So all of that stuff you can find on the webpage. As for math, you can only take the math placement exam once per time period. This is also explained on their website where there are specific dates. Off the top of my head, I don't know what time period we're currently in. If I'm remembering correctly, it might close tomorrow actually. On April 15th, but I could be remembering that incorrectly. It's been a while since I've taken a look at it. So for all the most up-to-date and accurate information, definitely check the respective webpage for each test that you're considering. I hope that helps. Oh, also, I've seen some questions about how to sign up for the placement exams. A lot of them are offered through different means, and they're done through different departments. So the web pages will also have the various instructions for how to sign up for each specific placement exam. Some of them you can just do online, but others you'll actually have to make an appointment and sign up in advance. So just follow the directions on the website and that should help.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that just knocked out a bunch of the questions. So that was fantastic. Great job on that. And Kyle and Hannah, just looking for some clarification. I know this question has been asked a few times, but just clarifying, is ACE just for incoming freshmen? And then the part 2 of that question is, I know especially with COVID, we have some freshmen who deferred from fall 2020 to fall 2021. So technically they're incoming freshmen, but they also may already have college credits. How are we treating that, since that is a unique situation for this year?
Yeah, thanks so much, Amber, for the asking a clarifying question. So first year programs is open to all students. And if a student, again, our main concern is, you know, the 15 to finish campaign is what we really try and put ourselves in alignment. We would not want you to take the same classes twice if you already have that college credit, because then you would be delaying your time towards graduation. So then there would be 2 conflicting goods, right? One of being in the ACE program, the other one of delaying your time to graduation. So we don't want to delay your time to graduation. However, again, if you're a transfer student, or if you've delayed but you still took a class or 2 online, and maybe our classes we offer don't fully match your degree requirements at this time, we still strongly encourage you to take UNIV 110. UNIV 110 is that a key course that's led by the peer mentor, and that can really provide you that cohort experience. And that's open to all students, whether you're a transfer student, or whether you're a first year, or whether you're a first part year because of the you know, the unique situation of COVID and if you delayed. So I would, in those types of situations, what I would strongly encourage you to participate in UNIV 110 as a standalone class. I want to add one more thing. If you miss our registration window, which is May 3rd to May 14th, you can still participate in UNIV 110 as a standalone class, and you can sign up through your STAR GPS. It should populate when you do the search of UNIV 110. For the chemistry placement exam, again, please do take it now because you can't complete your registration. If you are taking a cluster that has chemistry, you can't complete your registration until you complete the chemistry placement exam. The link for the placement exam has been put in the chat, so you can find it there.
Well, thank you so much for clarifying. I know we have a lot more specific type questions. So I'm going to try and pick the more general type questions from here on out. Just a reminder, if you guys are putting questions into the chat, make sure to go ahead and put them into the Q&A. I'm not reading them unless they're in the Q&A, so just a head tip for that. So for whoever wants to answer this one, I know I've seen some questions pop up about summer courses. If you guys don't know the answer, I can go into a bit more about it too. But if one of you guys don't mind explaining kind of how the summer courses work and how they would register for that if they are interested in starting before they technically begin, if that makes sense, before the fall.
Yeah, I can go ahead and take that question. So for all of the newly admitted students, you're officially going to be able to register for classes that start in August, but summer starts in either May or July or whatever, depending on which class you're going to take. So what you would need to do in order to open your registration up is to email OC Help, which is the email address for our outreach college, and just let them know, hey, I've been accepted to UH-Manoa for the fall. I'm super excited, but I wanted to also take some classes in the summer. So what they'll do is open up your registration, and then you'll be able to sign up for classes at that point. I'm not totally sure if there's like a specific date that you have to wait for, but I'm sure if there is, they will let you know in the email correspondence. But by doing that, you'll be able to take classes over the summer.
Thanks so much. Yeah, and I know we do have our summer programs as well for incoming freshmen, which there'll be more announcements about that later on. So just be sure to keep checking your hawaii.edu emails for that information. I have a lot of students asking questions about general education credits. Obviously, for every single major, it can be completely different depending on what they need. What is your best recommendation on what to advise the students to do if they're completely lost?
Definitely to schedule an appointment with the academic advisor, but again, ideally after you complete the new student advising online workshop. I think a lot of the questions for trying to figure that stuff out are answered in those tutorial videos that explain, like, this is how you're going to go through each of those processes. This is how you see what your class requirements are for your different majors. This is how to take a look at what the requirements are for another major, even if it's not your current major, but you're like, maybe I want to look into that one. So all of that stuff gets explained in the tutorial videos, and I promise they're very clear, short, easy. They're a really great resource once they're available, and I highly recommend that you go through those. And yeah, I think that answered the question, right?
Yeah, you got it. That's the biggest thing, is we always keep advising students to, make those appointments with their academic advisors, especially like what Diana said, is really going through that online orientation to kind of make sure you understand it. Students, I will advise you that I know I've probably received over 20 appointments in the past week about this. Your admissions team are not able to give you academic advising advice. We wish we could desperately, but we cannot. So make sure you are going ahead and scheduling that with the correct department that you are interested in speaking with. Now, I know I've gotten a lot of really great questions as well, asking about how double majors work and switching majors and how a minor would work. So Diana, do you mind talking a little bit about how that would be for incoming students?
Yes. So if you already have an idea of what your program or programs are going to be. Whether or not you can double major or add a minor or certificate or anything like that right off the bat is going to depend on which programs you're pursuing. Some of the programs, even for minors and certificates, have competitive admission, and so that complicates the process significantly. So the correct answer to this question is it depends, unfortunately. So it's always best to check with your academic advisor to see, okay, I'm currently majoring in this and I'm wanting to change it to this, or I want to add on this, or do this minor or do this certificate. It's always going to be a case-by-case basis because every program has different requirements, different rules, different forms. And so just to make sure that you're doing the right set of paperwork, you're doing the right procedures, you meet the requirements, definitely check with an advisor.
Oh, wonderful. And then students are wondering, can they email their academic advisors, and even say ACE, if they were to email you, can they use a personal email, or would you guys prefer if they email you using their UH email?
Yeah, please do use your @UH email. Just it's kind of best practice. A lot of times now instructors won't respond to personal emails, they'll only respond to @UH emails. So just as a matter of best practice moving forward, I would say one of the first steps I would say coming to college is add the Gmail to your phone, whether it be an iPhone or Android, and just every message you have with the university, whether it be student or with the instructors or whoever it may be. So please just use your @hawaii.edu email.
Yeah, and Diana, is it the same way for you guys to prefer to use the hawaii.edu email?
Yes. Anytime that you reach out to us and you don't email us with your hawaii.edu email, we are required to then send you an email back that says, I'm sorry, we cannot answer your question. Please email us again from your hawaii.edu email. So please do, because that's the only way we can verify your identity. And when we're pulling up, especially like specific academic records, those are private, protected information that we're not allowed to share with anybody. So we have to make absolutely certain that it's you and it's not someone trying to pretend to be you. And that's the only way we can share that information.
Yes, I definitely can't emphasize enough. I know with admissions, we're a little bit more flexible about it just because we understand you're still in that transition period, but especially for the students who have already deposited and are starting to register for classes, definitely get in that habit of using your hawaii.edu email. Make sure if you guys haven't already to download it to your smartphone if you have one. I know for me personally, I have it on my phone, my iPad, my everywhere. It's kind of obnoxious, all the places you can put it now, but it's really helpful to have that and make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss any important emails, especially as registration comes up next month. So there's been tons and tons of more questions. So just reminder students, if you guys have questions about specific classes that you're trying to register for, if you're not sure, make sure to meet with your academic advisor. Diana, do you mind talking about I know you already mentioned how students can check their registration time, but do you mind explaining about if students aren't able to register during that time? Say, I know for a lot of students there is graduation that week, so they may be busy with those things. Do you have advice for them about what would happen post their registration time and how they can register?
Sure. So the time ticket that is assigned, that is when your registration window opens, but there isn't really a close to that. You just keep your registration window stays open. You're able to add classes, drop classes, switch things around. That all stays open for the most part. If it ever does close, you would receive an email from our records office explaining, hey, it's going to close temporarily, so make sure that you make changes by this day and time. But they don't always do that. It just depends on whether or not they have to or not. And so sometimes you have students who are making changes to their schedule even like within the first week of the semester. I personally recommend that you have your schedule finalized before the first day of the semester as much as possible, just because it helps to reduce the stress. You're still trying to figure out, getting into the groove of being a college student at our campus and how that's all going to work. So the less you have to worry about which classes you're in, the better, which is why we love to promote programs like ACE, because it's a group all-in-one kind of deal. But yeah, you can continue to make changes to your registration. It stays open. I believe it stays open 24/7, except for maybe like 3 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. It might close temporarily for like an hour just for maintenance. But yeah, you can keep making changes. So feel free to try to put a schedule together. After you've put one together, email your academic advisor and say, hey, how does my schedule look? And if at that point there are any suggestions, we can then either set up an appointment to go and make changes to your schedule, or they might just be like, oh yeah, your schedule looks really great. But again, even if you register in May, you can keep making changes even in June, July, or August.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that's so important to note that it's not like you're locked into stone. I know a lot of students, and I'm sure Hannah, you know, especially firsthand, you may not get your top classes first round, you know, or specific time slots. So people are always constantly changing their classes. Obviously, with AIDS program, it's a little bit different. It actually makes it really convenient naturally because you can just pretty much sign up for that and you're good to go. But I was going to ask, kind of as some last remarks, I know there's still a lot of really good questions, is before we close out, if you guys have any specific advice regarding, you know, registering for classes in general, or just advice to the university, just any kind of open advice, that'd be lovely to hear. And I was going to say, Kyle, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you and Hannah, and then I'll pass it off to Diana after, just for any general advice you recommend.
I'll let Hannah go first.
Ooh, the spotlight. I would say get into an ACE cluster. That's the biggest thing. I cannot emphasize enough. I know I spoke really general, but honestly, I wish I could go into more depth about my experience. Being an ACE peer mentor now, like all the ACE peer mentors, like being able to meet them, they're very well diverse. We have a lot of well-accomplished ACE peer mentors that have a lot of knowledge and resources. So they are your, you know, they are your tools, you know, we can help you. We're here to equip you and help you. And I think it's just the best part of being in an ACE cluster is that you get to know your university. You're going to spend here 4 years. I mean, projecting that this is going to be your home college for the 4 years. You should know your university, get to know what we offer, because you are paying for this, right? And we are a free program, and we are here to support you in your success. We are, every step of the way you're going, we're going to help you through it. And I don't know what else to say that other than that. I've seen students who were not in an ACE cluster. I've seen them struggle. I had to tell them, oh, did you not know we had tutoring services? Did you not know we had these other programs like intramural sports, like, you know, getting to know other people? And they're like, no, I did not know that. And we're in our junior year now. And I'm like, well, maybe you should have taken an ACE cluster, because you would have known all these things, and, you know, you would have been able to, you know, utilize that year to the maximum, because you know what we offer. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Hannah. And thanks for taking over the spotlight there. That's great. So I think for me, in echoing, I would, you know, of course, promote joining an ACE cluster. And I think, as Hannah said, you know, you're paying for college. My biggest thing is going to class. You know, when I was a freshman student a long time ago, I didn't always go to class, and my grades kind of suffered from it. And so if you're here, I'd encourage you to go to class and actually get to know your instructors. They're not some in ivory tower. They're people too, and, you know, they just want to do their best they can in being a good instructor. So I would encourage you to actually reach out and contact your instructors, as you may need letters of recommendation down the line, and to just have a meaningful college experience. So yeah, I'll hand it off to Diana.
Okay, in terms of tips, recommendations, and things like that, definitely to reach out to your academic advisor. Maybe I'm a little bit biased in saying that, but honestly, we're here to help. And the thing that breaks my heart the most is when people wait a really long time to come and see us, and there are problems that crop up because they waited too long to see us that we could have addressed if they had met with us from the very beginning. So I definitely recommend, before the semester starts, meet with your academic advisor at least once. And I also did answer a question in the chat about well, who is my advisor, as I'm also in the honors program? Well, you might have multiple academic advisors. So you'll have advisors for your college or school. They're usually the ones who help with general education questions, general questions, doing forms and things like that. But you'll also have a major advisor, and they're usually someone who is experienced in the field. So let's say, for example, you're an English major, then you'll have a college school advisor in the College of Arts, Languages, and Letters. And you'll also have a faculty advisor who is probably one of your English professors who works in the field, can give you really great advice about things like internships, careers, job placement, what it's like to graduate with an English major, and how do I find a job afterwards. They're really great for all of that. And then if in addition to that, you might be in a special program like ROTC, or maybe in athletics or in the honors program, student support services, there's a whole bunch of different other programs that we have, and they might come with an advisor for those programs as well. So you might have a whole family of academic advisors who are here to support and help you with all of your questions. So get used to meeting with us and seeing us. I promise you will not regret it, and you will be all the better for it if you do.
That is such wonderful advice. I definitely could not agree more. The academic advisors, and especially our professors, and meeting with Kyle and Hannah about ACE clusters and such. There's just so many wonderful resources that are here for you. So please, by all means, take advantage of it. If you ever are not really sure where to go, of course, we always encourage you to Google search naturally. But if you really have no idea where to go, please, by all means, reach out to admissions. We are kind of like your front desk team to kind of guide you to where you are supposed to go, but definitely make sure to reach out. Don't be afraid to talk to your academic advisors, even if it's for a major, you're like, kind of like, I don't know, I'm still trying to figure it out. Definitely take advantage of those resources. But we, of course, want to say thank you all so much for joining us, and a huge shout out to Kyle, Diana, and Hannah for taking time out of their afternoon to talk to you all a little bit more about registration and ACE clusters. I know I definitely learned a lot, so I appreciate you guys being here for that. And students, definitely be sure to reach out to us if you guys have more questions. We know it isn't a very exciting yet stressful time, and so just know that we are all here to support you guys in any way we can. And we hope you guys have such a wonderful day, and aloha.